Welcome. This is David Carmena, your Tampa Unicorn. And today, guys, we're going to do something a little bit different. We are going to talk about the need to network among your peers, networking in a large group. Last Friday, we had an event called the CEO Experience right here at the club, right downtown at the University Club. I tell you, it was outstanding. We literally had $1 billion worth of net worth in the room. We had city officials, we had elected officials, we had owners of major companies, we had large and small, and all this was due to one gentleman that I'm going to bring to the show, Mr. Andrew Ware. Let's get him on right now. Mr. Ware, how you doing?
Hey, living a dream every single day. Energy's never lost, it's transferred. Glad to be here, David. Talk to me.
Well, I tell you what, man, you had a great event that you were, let's just call it what it is, man. You was the brains behind it. You put it all together. We literally had $1 billion worth of net worth in the room, and that is a huge testament to your perseverance on getting this thing done. And this $1 billion that was in the room, that was us. It was us, people that look like you and I.
Exactly. You're spot on, David. Definitely. I mean, we had the Tampa Bay Black Business Investment Corp. The CEO is Albert Lee. They just signed a major deal with Raymond James Financial Group, which is worth about 35, $40 million contract. They're going to do some partnerships. So he has an access of about 50 to $60 million that he can do some lending to those small businesses that would like to perhaps scale their business.
Now, BBIC, they lend almost directly to small businesses. I mean, that is their core function, right?
That is absolutely correct. So anything that Raymond James Bank can't take care of, BBIC says, hey, you know what? We'll go ahead and take care of it. To this date, right now, based upon the data that I got from the CEO, which is Albert Lee, they've done about 25 deals with Raymond James.
Mm-hmm.
So you got 25 business owners out there that got the capital that they needed to scale their business.
And that working capital is so important, so important. Who else was in the room?
We actually had the gentleman by the name of Julius Davis.
Mm-hmm.
He's the CEO of Vault Air. They're located in Texas, Atlanta, and also Tampa. So oftentimes, if you see any new buildings going up, more than likely, Vault Air have probably done some of the AC units and some of the other plumbing that happens with just about every new building that you see going up. Vault Air had something to do with that. And
Wow.
we also had the vice president of the Federal Bank out of Chicago,
Mm-hmm.
which is Shana Jones. And they're really concentrating on those small businesses to do those micro loans starting from $250,000 up to $20 million and granting access as low as 3%.
Wow. Wow. You know what? We have a clip of some of the community partners for the CEO event as
Please
well as
show.
some others.
Please show.
Let's
Yes,
go ahead
sir.
and bring that on. Now, here you can see the people that's in the room. We're going to circle back around. So, Drew, speaking here is the vote error, Mr. Davis, correct?
That is exact. That is absolutely correct. Yes, indeed. Let me tell you how important it was for him to be there. After my event, he had to get on a plane. He had to be in Texas to close the deal. That's how important that event was to him as a sponsor.
Wow. Wow, that is awesome. Let's see what else he has to say.
You probably perhaps can't hear right now, but I'm definitely talking about the sponsors that came in at the community level, also the sponsors that made a difference on the corporate level as well. And it was interesting. I turned down 8 sponsors.
Wow.
That's 8 sponsors, okay? And of course, you were one of the sponsors as well. Every single sponsor that was in the room is making a difference, one zip code at a time, between now and the next 10 years.
Wow. So we had 8 sponsors that you had to turn away.
Yes, couldn't take their money, just didn't have any room for them.
Wow. You know what? That reminds me, we had a group out of Miami that was wanted to pay big bucks, but they wanted too much time.
That is correct. That is correct. And I was like, thank you.
But no
We were
thanks.
able, yeah, right, right, right,
We
right. We
can't
were
give you
able,
40 minutes of time, brother. You know, we kept
that's
telling
right.
them.
We just don't have it like that, you know?
Hmm. All right, let's look at some more. Wow, that was awesome, Drew. That was awesome. So,
Thank you. And I really meant that. Absolutely.
mhm. And a lot of times it is mindset. It's coming in and realizing the opportunity, take advantage of those opportunities as they present themselves.
Exactly. Exactly that. So the energy in the room, let me tell you, I had the the individuals that was on the list that you all as sponsors had guests, right?
Right.
I haven't even checked all my emails. Every single one that came, everyone enjoyed that evening. And most importantly, let me say this. 80% of the individuals in the room had never been to the University Club of Tampa. You
Right.
actually frequent there every day. 80% that was in the room had never been to that venue.
Yeah, that's and it's one of the things I always say, that you really need to be in the room. You don't have to be at the front of the table of the room, but you need to be in the room that where there are deals being made at the level at where you are or above. I mean, if you are the largest guy in the room, the largest business in the room, you're in the wrong room.
That's
So
right.
when you have these events, these private clubs that you go, we spend a lot of money on. And full disclosure, I am David Carmena, the CEO of Carmena Enterprises, and Drew, you're part of our organization. We work
That's correct.
together on some things real estate related, and so as
Correct.
well as being the CEO of World
World
Class
class
Consulting.
consultant.
And so
Yes.
but the point is that being in the room, spending the money so that you have access to decision makers, other decision makers that are at the CEO level or above, people that are in position to make that decision, not their gatekeeper, not their, their person that is
That's right.
designed
Exactly.
to shut you away from the decision maker. You're there. I mentioned to you the time we met there, we had the mayor having lunch 2 seats
Yes.
over from us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You see it
So
all the time because you go there every day, of course.
I was there today, man. I love it.
Right.
I can. So let me. Now you mentioned the lady that is the vice president of the bank. Here, let's look at her coming up. Let's bring her on up. I want to present to some and introduce to others none other than Shana.
Thank you, Drew. I'm humbled and honored to be part of Drew's Inside Circle. We met maybe 3 years ago and we connected immediately. We had lunch and it turned into just a whole whirlwind of what we were saying for the future, what we could do as a team. I am vice president with the Federal Savings Bank. We are a nationwide lender out of Chicago. However, we span the country. We do loans from Hawaii to Alaska, Florida to New York, all of the down the coast. So with that being said, we have a variety of programs, and I'm not going to get into programs today, but what I do want to get into is that anything that you need, when it's regarding money, when it's regarding real estate, I am your girl to contact. I'd love to help you, love to sit down with any of you and help build your business, because we lend to businesses as well as to individuals. So with that being said, I just appreciate everybody in the room. Look forward to doing business with you guys. And don't mind me if I hand you a card, because I'm that kind of girl. So I'm going to probably try to get all of them out. I got a table full of them, but I don't want to go home. So, yeah, pass them all out, right? And as Drew would say, cool beans. Cool beans.
Cool beans.
All right. So Drew, now she, as you mentioned, she was the decision maker for loans starting at $250,000, $500,000, all the way up to 20 million. Correct?
That is absolutely correct. She said out of in the room, she had excessive of 68 leads before I even sent anything as far as who actually came. She had 68 leads. Trust me.
Wow.
Come on, that's huge. That's big.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Being able to network a room is so important, but it's not just spray your business card around and stuff. It really is developing relationships with people that are in the room. And I want to bring Judy up. Judy is a it's rare that you meet a professional person that is in a decision making position in her company, but presents themselves from a gratitude, I want to help position. Judy is a consummate professional at that. And it's not just she's saying the things that she needs to say to endear. It's not one of those situations where you read the book How to Win Friends and Influence People, and you practice those techniques. She really wants to engage with everyone and try to help people, with whether or not it helps her directly or indirectly or not at all. So I brought her on. I'm going to bring her on up so that we can talk about networking the room from a professional standpoint and some of the key points that are that we should do as a person that is trying to maximize opportunities that are in the room. Judy,
Hi, how are you guys doing?
we doing
I am
great.
well, Judy.
Well,
Good.
Friday afternoon.
Mhm.
Right.
So could you tell us a little bit about your background, and then we're going to segue into networking tips, tricks, pros, cons, what's some of the things that we should think about as we network
Yes,
a room.
because I was one who was in attendance at that event, and I will share the leads that I made as well. But Well, first of all, thank you for inviting me on your show. Again, Judy Dorcey, been in workforce for 16 years in the Tampa Bay area, in both Hillsborough and Pinellas County. I was the former COO for CareerSource Tampa Bay. Prior to that, director of youth and interim CEO for a year before taking on the COO role there. In addition to that, I worked with many organizations in the community. I sit on the committee for the mayor's awareness task force, as well as on the workforce development committee for the Tampa Bay Chamber. Hold other positions as well, but those two most importantly with what we're chatting about today. Currently, I have started my own workforce development consulting company. With all of the experience that I've had in the past, I decided to leverage that experience to start my own. So you can imagine how important events such as what you guys held on Friday is for someone like me starting out in this industry under her own brand after serving in this community for over 16 years. So I currently am working on pre-apprenticeship programs for CDC of Tampa currently now, and I'm excited about that. Is going to be some large opportunities for them to assist 18 and up, those that are 18 and up looking for a skill in construction. It's an amazing opportunity that we're getting ready to launch for CDC. And I'll stop there.
So, some of the things we want to talk about is that how to approach networking in a room where you have a lot of decision makers. Now, there's many people have a lot of different techniques, and I know that there's some techniques are unique to them and they thrive at it. And there's not really a wrong way of doing it. But what are some of the tips and ways that you approach networking a room where, like we were just at on Friday, where there's $1 billion worth of net worth in the room that
Absolutely.
Mr. Ware has brought into it? How do you approach that?
Make sure, first of all, that you present yourself well as you approach folks. Make sure you ask questions and be prepared for a pitch. You have to. I don't care if you've been in business 6 months. You have to have a pitch ready for professionals like that, especially somebody like Shana who has money to offer. So it's those are the three things that I would say, and always definitely be prepared to follow up. Have a card. One of the things that I noticed that was a giveaway at the event was the little wristband where you can scan your information. New technology is always something that you want to have because it shows other people that you're keeping up with the latest technology and you want to provide an easier way to connect. I have the actual card and I was trying to get that wristband, but couldn't get the wristband. But those who did, I know that's a added feature to their networking opportunities.
So Drew, I didn't get a I didn't get a wristband.
I got you. I got you. I got you. You know I got you. You know I got you. I got you covered.
Could you add to some additional tips, or you are tell people a little bit about your background, how extensive it is? Go ahead and take a couple of minutes to do the whole thing. Because one thing that I find out that we as Black and brown people, most of us are faith-based. We try to be humble, but there's times when you need to let a person know your capabilities. And it's not being arrogant. It's showing what you do and letting people know. So, Drew,
Exactly.
take some time
Definitely.
to talk about your full background, and then how did you get to where we are with the CEO experience?
Well, when you're talking about faith, I grew up in a household that put God first. And I remember the conversation that my mom had. She said, "We don't have much, but because you have my last name, I really want you to go out there and represent it well." And I grew up around a lot of pastors, so I learned from them pretty much how to dress. And I thought perhaps one day I would be a designer, And that's one of the reasons why I probably own 49 custom shirts in my closet. But coming up, even at the age of 11, 12 years of age, I knew it was something different about me because I always wanted to bring people together. And I said there's only three types of people. There are people that make things happen, there are people that see things that are happening, and then there are people that don't know what the hell happened. And I realized I wanted to be the one that would bring people together because oftentimes we all know the narrative is you either talking about a problem or you're the problem solver. And I've always wanted to be the problem solver. Even making a decision on the brokerage that I would join and be a part of, David, I did my extensive background, and every single one that I reached out to said it would be a good fit for you to be with Carmena and Associates Realty Group. So this whole CEO experience came about. For 5 years, I worked as an independent contractor for the Tampa Bay Black Business Investment Corp. My responsibility was to get those funds and get those dollars to those small business owners that needed to perhaps either grow their business or acquire other businesses. I did so phenomenally well, they started calling me Mr. Tampa. And at the time, no disrespect to the Tampa Bay Black Business Investment Corp, but they were paying me $65 an hour, but I was bringing in millions. I'm like, wait a minute, this doesn't seem right. So I made a conscious effort to make sure that I had the proper license and did every single thing right, from a PO box to having an EIN number and having everything else in place. And I reached out to some prominent corporations that's out there that I had done some business with, such as Raymond James. I did the around the Super Bowl, we did a golf tournament. No one knows but a few people. I was responsible for that. With the Women of Color Golf, we raised about $100,000, but no one knew I was in partnership with that. And I knew after that type of relationship, it was time for me to do my own thing. And that's where that whole idea of the world-class consulting came in. True story. I actually got my license for world-class consulting 8 years ago, and I kept it active, and it took that long. So I
Wow.
want to tell everyone that's out there, don't give up on your dreams. You have to know that whatever it is that you're called to do, whatever your purpose is, do that and stay the course, because there's only two periods in one's life. That's when you're born and when you find your purpose. And David and Judy, I think I found my purpose.
Yes. Yes.
Well, you know what? Thank you for those kind words about joining Community and Associates Really the group. I got that check for you a little bit later on.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. So finding your purpose, and that's so true. You know, the being part of being faith-based, and you know, this is an investment show, not necessarily a religious show, but you once you walk in your purpose, whatever that purpose is, it seems like you don't get tired working. It's not a job anymore. Resources are put in your path to help you with that purpose. You know, our meeting up was no accident. Judy and I meeting up, no accident. There's been plenty of times where Judy and I would be talking about something that I'm working on, or something that she's working on. Oh, hey, do you know this guy? Do you know? And before you know it, we're helping each other out. And that's what I see the CEO experience is doing, is is connecting people that look like us in decision making positions so that we can provide guidance, direct and indirect support. What do you think about that, Judy? Do we need something like that?
Absolutely. And let me just say, Drew, listening to your journey and your a story about your purpose is so fulfilling to me. Being coming from workforce, those are the things that we strive to accomplish. And so hearing that is so fulfilling for me. But this experience, and let me just share, even in workforce, we served a lot of people in the community, but how could we come together and come up with something that could serve C-level, middle management, job seekers that were looking for employment and that were at home, had a computer, that didn't need to come into our centers. They still needed help finding employment. So we had to come up with a more strategic way of how to assist them. So we came up with a event called the Professional Mixer, and it became one of the most successful events that we did every year. It wasn't a typical job fair where you have to stand in line and you only have 5 minutes to connect to somebody. A networking event gives you the opportunity to get to know somebody. You're not in a rush. There's no one behind you, and you get to bond with that person, and the wheels start turning within that time frame. So, kudos to you for creating something like this. It is well needed in the Tampa Bay area. Coming from a big city like Chicago, this will take professionals a long way. I've been to a lot of networking events, and I got to tell you, I knew a lot of people in that room on Friday, but I met a lot of people in that room on Friday. So
Love it.
it was well worth it when you have a quality event.
Thank you,
So
Judy.
when we
Yes.
talk about people in the room, we had an elected official, a county commissioner in the room with
Yeah.
us. Let's listen to what she has to say.
Thank you so much, Drew. I'm going to ask county staff, my staff to come up with because we set policy at Board of County Commissioners. But for those of you who do not know me, I'm County Commissioner Gwen is representing District 3 on the Board of County Commissioners. And this is Ken Jones, Director of our MPE.
Now let's talk about that. The director of the Minority Business Enterprise effort in Hillsborough County. Now, not only
Yes,
we had him there, but we had his boss there. We had his
that is
boss
correct.
there. So when we talk about networking and $1 billion worth of opportunities, $1 billion network in the room, that is no exaggeration. Let's hear some more what the commissioner has to say.
Okay. One of the things we have in county now is to make sure MPE, there are opportunities for you. So when we ask the question, or at least when I ask the question as a county commissioner, what's in your wallet? It should be some cash for Hillsborough County government, which means you are doing business with us. Right? Okay? And if you're not doing business with us, why are you here tonight? This is the man, because they, her team, because that's what it's about now in Hillsborough County. We're no longer thinking about it. We are doing business with minority companies. Right. We are doing business with minority companies. Just as Apple did. Albert, if we brought out something for you this week, on board. Okay? All right. I'm not a commissioner sit and wait and look. It's about the people. Where's jobs? Who's about jobs? All right. All right. It's about the people. So you're the people here tonight, and we certainly appreciate you coming. But before you leave, please talk with county staff. Thank you so much.
All right. So, you know, a personal on a personal note, as she stepped away from the podium and sat down, I walked past the table. She grabbed me and gave me her personal card. Say, David,
Mm.
call me. We need to do something. And so,
Hey,
you know, when you talk about major opportunities in a room, because you're facilitating the event, you know, again, if you come from a purpose of a position of serving and helping, you can't help but good things happen your way. Yes, Drew, you wanted to say something?
Yes. So most politicians, they do what they do and then they leave. She actually stayed another hour and a half, and
Yes.
that's to the credit of everything that she said. That came from the heart, and the reason why I know that is the receipts is she stayed another hour and a half. That's important, and of course now that says a lot to do with the event as well. Let me tell you, we also had Carol Miner from the Small Business Development Center. She was also one of the sponsors, and every single sponsor say they got value that evening, David.
Let's look at another sponsor.
So further ado, none other than David Carmena.
Who's that guy? Who is that guy?
Oh my. You really need to write that check.
I'm gonna be real with you guys. There's not a whole bunch of us here that look like if you know what I mean. So I was out of country actually, and it was time to put in my application here. And my girl Jackie, she called and said, "Dan is not here." It was deadline. Tyler said, "Oh, I know David Carmena. I know Mr. Carmena. We will fast track the paperwork, and I will co-sign for him." And so I appreciate that to this day. It was about a year and a half ago. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for that man, and you guys wouldn't be here if it wasn't for me. Wow. Wow. So that's what it is. I'm David Carmena with Juditte Enterprises. I am a uh, real estate entrepreneur, I call it. What I have is a suite of companies all in the real estate space. So I have a property management company. I have a traditional buy and sales company. I have a partner with capital. I have a training company. I have a company that teaches real estate. And I have a team that's here. So it's not all about me, it's really all about my team, and I would like to bring them up. Come on up, guys. Come on. I'm gonna take what I do.
Okay, so I'm going to bring up the team, and we're going to be talking about some of the larger type of projects that we're going to be bringing to the show a little bit later on. You know, as a minority business owner, you do not have to be stuck in projects where you're doing things that only you have the capability of doing. You can partner with much larger organizations to take down a much larger project, and so these guys are coming up, or some are direct employees or team members, and then some other people are the people that we're partnering with to go after some very large projects. And we're going to be talking about that a little bit more. But just listen to a couple of the doctors and where they come from. And again, these are partnership relationships that we've established to go after much larger projects.
So Drew is part of the team, and I appreciate it. He's been on board for a couple of years now, and I appreciate you, brother. Dr. Austin, Dr. Neely is our community liaison. Dr. Austin is with, she's actually, we worked with her on a couple of very, very, very promising, very, I'll let her, I'm not sure. Another one of my agents, Rock. Daryl is part of the communication and marketing company, and I have a couple other people in here. But it takes a collective effort to do what we do. And I wanted to spend some time to actually ask everybody to just get one half a second and talk a little bit about what they're doing. And if there's any way that you guys would like to know more about it or partner with us, hey, listen, it's all about collaborating, working together. Okay, Dr. Austin.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Dr. Sonny Johnson Austin, and I have the pleasure of working with Reverend Julie here, who you'll hear from in a few moments. My responsibility when you hear about the Black Farmers Collaborative is to make connections to community, to assess what our energy needs are, and to actually find out how we can make sure that funding comes to our community so that we can restore the gaps that we see. So I'm going to have Reverend Daly, that's my half second. I'm going to have Reverend Daly talk a little bit more about that. My background as a civil engineer, businesswoman, educator, and researcher at the University of South Florida. Thank you.
Good evening, and thank you all for this opportunity. I'm Jared Daly, and we're engaged in a collaborative project with Florida Agricultural Mechanical University and their 3,800 farm in Brooksville. It's the Brooksville Agricultural and Environmental Research Station. Also, the University of South Florida and the Department of Energy and their new renewable energies laboratories. And so the infrastructure law has provided $200 billion each year for the next 5 years, and we're talking about workforce training in Hillsborough County.
Pass the likelihood. Hello everyone, my name is Rochester Jacobs. I'm son of Rochester Jacobs. I am very excited to be a part of the Associates Realty Group. I am just, as he said, sales associate here to network, and anyone you know is looking for a property to sell, lease, or buy. Look at my name, is that all right? Thank you guys. So that's my team, guys, and I really appreciate it. Thank you guys for coming out.
All right, so a small company, or even a medium-sized company, cannot do or may not be positioned to bid on successfully a $40 million. Well, we have three. One is 40, the other one is 60-ish or so. And then the first of the month, we're talking to the guys that are going to be putting out $1 billion RFP eventually. Partnering with other people in the room, as you saw, we're partnering with FAMU. We're partnering with USF for this particular project. And what that does is it builds our capability to where we're able to take down large and larger projects, which is a direct result of being able to develop relationships, many of whom were in that room. So, Drew, tell me more about what is the future of the CEO experience. Are we going to have other events like this? Do you have any special guests that you're looking at, or any locations that you're considering?
Yeah, I got some good news, David. So I've been getting quite a few calls. I've gotten calls from Atlanta, Miami, DC, Philly, Orlando. But most importantly, recently, we're looking at the second week in December, we're looking at St. Pete. You know, we've considered maybe perhaps the Palladium, the hospice, and there's also a venue that Raymond James Corporation has access to. So right now, you know, we're talking about it. Hopefully by next week, we'll be able to decide. So I'll certainly get that information once I get it. But I'm excited. We're looking at the second week in December of making this thing happen again.
Wow, Judy.
Yes.
You were not a sponsor this other time, but you were in the room. One of the things that we discussed off camera was that, and you mentioned, you highlighted about it a little bit, is that a lot of times decision makers do not have an outlet to reach to the Black and brown community. You know, you're stuck in your normal flow, and while you have the heart and the will to do it, it's just not easy a transition to reach out. Do you feel that something like the CEO experience and what we did Friday is of value?
Without hesitation, it is. As a matter of fact, in you just saying that, I will say this: there are people that I'm going to absolutely tell about this. One being Moffitt Cancer Center. We had an opportunity to meet with their diversity inclusion team, and they are looking for outreach events to attend. That is absolutely one of them that they need to attend. They're trying to connect more with the Black and Brown community, especially folks at sea level. So this is definitely one that I'm going to refer to them to attend. If they're interested in sponsoring, that will definitely be up to them. But they need to be present. I'm pretty sure they should, because they need an opportunity to talk to the group, such as the others have. So that's what I'm committing to.
Absolutely. In fact, in the room there was a couple of doctors from Moffitt, and shout
Oh,
out to Charlie. He's a PhD that works at Moffitt.
mhm.
So the reach, Drew, of the CEO experience, just by Judy knows everyone. Judy knows everyone, just by having just people in the room that have of good heart and good faith, and of that's trying to lead with gratitude and pay it back. It's you don't know how much reach and how much conversation you've gotten here with the CEO experience and world class consulting. Could you again, you got something there, brother, you really do. And so give me a two where are we going with this? Give me a glimpse into the future, maybe a 2-3 year plan. What are you looking at?
Absolutely. Thanks, David. I'm excited. We're getting ready to go city to city. I've already gotten phone calls from Raymond James financial side saying, hey, they'd like to partner. By Monday or Tuesday, I'm going to put some good news out there. It looks like Enterprise Rent a Car. Let me recapitulate that again. Enterprise Rent a Car will become one of my premier sponsors, city to city, along with State Farm. Look, let me tell you something. Only God can do this. This thing is way bigger than me. But what I do like is I have something here that they got to pay attention to. And the cool thing about it is we're going to make this thing happen one zip code at a time, David. I'm excited. So the next 2 to 3 years, we're certainly going to make this thing happen city to city. But here's one of the things that I want to make sure that I'm crystal clear and put this out in the universe. We will feature more females that's in key positions than any other mixer in the world. I will make certain that that is something that we will focus on. There's a young lady by the name of Dr. Renee Baker. She has the highest position with Raymond James, the highest position. She and I are going to find this talent that happens to be a female that are CEOs, and we will feature them. We will make this thing happen. Look forward to it. Thanks, Dave.
All right. Well, with that, thank you, Drew, for coming in and sharing with us a little bit, a glimpse behind the curtain of the event. Was outstanding. We're looking forward to the next one. Thank you. All right. So, guys, there you have it. The ability to network, the ability to be in a room, to establish meaningful connections. A lot of us get into rooms and it's a party. It's not a purpose. It's good to have fun. I'm not saying don't have any fun, but for your business, this is your livelihood. This is you are the captain for your business and your family. You really should have a purpose. Party with a purpose. Make meaningful connections. And lastly, stay grinding.